Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. It's the fourth quarter of 2019, so we're going to dive into the hemp industry, do a little quick report, asking if the hemp market has been resurrected. CBD prices have plummeted. There's been a lot of onboarding, new acreage. So with some new frontier data, we're going to dive into that report. On the line with us is Dan Kimmis, our CBD correspondent with Good CBD Products.
Hey, I'm here. I've got a trainload of hemp moving around behind me, Chronic. It's rather apropos.
Beautiful. So diving into this market report from JJ McCoy, Senior Managing Editor at New Frontier Data, he talks about the 2018 Farm Bill last December, kind of sparking the hemp farming and driving all of that forward with new licenses and hemp acreage for 2019 that tripled. And then the number of hemp licenses issued having quadrupled since 2018. It goes on to say, quote, "It's increasingly likely that the U.S. hemp industry will see more acreage planted this year than in 1943, the peak of cultivation during World War II. Obviously, people have been seeing a lot about CBD. And so the article goes on to say, quote, "Several states entered the arena this year, often exceeding estimates for growth across the supply chain and from cultivation to retail sales. As cultivation booms across the U.S. and top hemp producing states, an increase in processing licensing and facilities demonstrates a course to the inevitable commoditization of raw hemp products. Across a majority of states having reported their licensed cultivation areas, the combined total marks more than a threefold increase in total acreage from 2018. Colorado leads all states with 80,000 licensed acres, followed by Kentucky with 60,000 acres, and Oregon placing a close third at 54,940 acres. Meanwhile, while the 2018 Farm Bill was expected to open the mass market retail channel with access to better banking, credit card processing, and reduced retailer risk, what proved more unpredictable was the extent of the CBD product's explosive fad-like phenomenon extending their availability to department stores, apparel retail, and restaurants. Mass market retailers like CVS and Walgreens will continue to grow sales of topical products and look to offer ingestible products pending regulatory clarification from the FDA. Until then, some states will prosper under increased mass market retailer distribution, while other states will fall behind with outdated hemp and CBD state laws in effect. The uncertainty surrounding the FDA's pending position regarding CBD products has introduced new risks for companies heavily invested in CBD-infused foods, drinks, and other ingestible products. While such risks have done relatively little to dissuade thousands of entrepreneurs and investors who flocked into the space, those operating outside of the final regulatory guidelines may face substantial retooling costs or experience dramatic shifts in their strategic decisions or directions."
Oh my gosh. So much to say, Chronic. Finally, first, one right in my wheelhouse, brother. You know this. This is where I hang out. CBD and the whole where's it going and what's going on. You know, it's funny. Even an article like this, right? So at last check, there were 64,000 acres under cultivation in Oregon. Okay, and that was as of, well, I guess that was 2 weeks ago. So point being, even something like this, right? Relevant, brand new, fresh data. By the time it hits the ground, it's already dated, right?
That's funny because this report doesn't even have Oklahoma. So I remember we were talking about Oklahoma in the past. This says that there's an increase in state issued hemp license to the tune of 1,300% in Tennessee. North Carolina increased 548%. So there's 16,462 licenses for growing hemp, but it doesn't even include Oklahoma, which has something like 7,300 licenses. Tennessee has 3,500. Oregon has 3,000. This graph was obsolete the moment it was, printed or whatever,
right?
Published.
Right. So literally yesterday, okay, so it's what, Wednesday, so Tuesday, okay, talking with somebody about essentially a biomass deal, so bulk hemp, right? And then, the people doing the ask who want to sell it, they want, I think, $1.75 a point for the CBD. The people who want to buy it say, look, we can buy it for $1.50 a point. So, and then one of the speculators in the deal saying, yeah, and we anticipate here in a few weeks it'll be down to $1 a point. Okay. Well, when you're talking about thousands of pounds of hemp and, or tens of thousands of pounds of hemp and all of this, those kinds of price moves are dramatic. And, that trend line is basically, bulk price, bulk commodity price diving hard, fast. And it comes from the pendulum swing of, geez, gold rush, let's go grow some hemp. And everybody going to grow some hemp. It's crazy.
Absolutely. There's a 328% increase in licenses issued since 2018. There's 480,334 acres total in 2019. And so there's another article that kind of asks, or not asks, it says there's a study that shows there's great promise for growing hemp. This article just came out. And so I'm not entirely sure that it is a great time to grow hemp. I think there's been a lot of implementation of hemp over the last couple of years. And so, this article kind of goes to say that there's states legally growing hemp. There's 34 that allow commercial hemp cultivation, while 4 states, being Idaho, South Dakota, Mississippi, and Georgia, prohibiting it. Georgia is probably one of the strictest. And so I'm working with the World Trade Center on their e-commerce platform to try and add CBD products. And Georgia is not going to be a state that we're going to sell to. But there's a lot of hemp that includes, 29 or almost 30,000 acres of hemp. So they say that this article says the top states include Colorado, Oregon, Montana, Tennessee, and Arizona, still excluding Oklahoma, with some growth projections. They talk about seeds too, and it's interesting because Oregon is actually suing a seller of some seeds to the tune of $44 million because they didn't get feminized seeds. They got male seeds, and then the female seeds they did get didn't produce much. And so it's really a lack of due diligence. But there's a lot of people out there that are doing things that, they're not subject matter experts. They're buying stuff they don't know. People are selling stuff they don't care. And that's really going to affect the market, especially with an early winter this year. There's a lot of rain. We'll see what happens with the supply or oversupply. If that kind of narrows down as with this winter we're having. All right, it's fall, but really it's already winter.
Well, yeah, the nature of when did you lay your money down, right? And what was your contract? Because again, it was looking like there's going to be a very robust oversupply. And then all of a sudden the weather turned a little bit, and just like, orange futures or corn futures, there's hemp futures now. Again, who'd have thought, man? Okay, I really, seriously, it's like, what? Yeah, there's hemp futures. That's insane.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting too. I'm interested to see with Kush.com, their futures market that they've got. But back to this article from agriculture.com, they talk about the risks of growing hemp. It's difficult to find certified feminized seeds and clones that we just discussed. It's labor intensive. There's lack of traditional markets, and then pollen drift issues or cross-pollination risks. So we've talked about that, with hemp and cannabis being too close to one another. There's a lot of risks. I'm not necessarily convinced that right now is a great promise for growing hemp. There's just way too many people. Wait until those folks get out of the game, buy their used equipment for 30 cents on the dollar, because there's a lot of global hemp industrial applications all over the world. So you're looking at, China and Canada and Europe all being huge global industrial hemp manufacturers to the tune of $776 million in sales last year. And that European sales we're seeing on this graph also increasing exponentially just year after year.
So would this make you a hemp market bear? Is that what you're saying?
The popularity of products are increasing, the sales are increasing, but the wholesale price is going to plummet because there's more supply now. So people have a lot more biomass, a lot more of derivatives. If they need CBD or otherwise, those are available. And there's going to be a lot of people trying to get out of the game and just realize that this commodity price has plummeted from $7,000 a kilo to $1,000 in some areas. Illinois just took 18,000 acres offline, but that's an opportunity for Michigan, for people who are coming on board. So there's going to be regional areas to go to. As we've talked about, the 124,000 hectares in Brazil, it's 300,000 plus acres. And so you're seeing global hemp sales on this graph going up to the tune of $500 million by 2020. I believe that there's going to be more products, but again, wholesale prices are going to continue to drop.
See, I think it's one of those games you can win but you got to be like an all pro. I don't think you can win the hemp game by, being above average or good. I think you have to be great. And that means, again, that means all the things, right? Outside expertise. It means a better team. It means the Talking Hedge, your cannabis business podcast, by the way. All of those things, because again, there's a lot of money and opportunity sitting on the line. And at the same time, again, I in my rounds, some of the sharpest operators I see, okay, are people who are on the edge with regards to the hemp curve.
Yeah, I would just compare it to cannabis and say that you need to diversify. Having the opportunity in Colorado or California, and having a producer, a processor, and a retailer license, along with distribution and clones and all these other opportunities, is a way to diversify and become vertically integrated. If you're in hemp, you shouldn't just be growing a crop. We know that there's a farm apocalypse right now in the normal just crop agricultural world. No farmers are out there driving Lamborghinis. They're not really rich, although their tractors are worth as much as a Lambo. And so, you need to make a brand, you need to make a product, you need to own retail. McDonald's was really about real estate, not flipping burgers, right? So there's these opportunities to make money as long as you can diversify. I think there's ways to do it. But if you're just getting in the game to grow and process CBD, you don't fully understand the industry and you won't be around very long.
Find some expertise, hire some brains.
And keep coming back to the Talking Hedge. So with that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out.